Okay, so we've already introduced ourselves briefly. Just to say as well, part of the reason why I'm connected with the school is because I spent 2.5 years in Mississippi from 97 to 99 doing student organising, anti-racist organising. And it was there when I met Curtis Mohammed, my mentor, who helped us set up the organising school. So, yeah, just to give you a bit of that background. I'm going to read some from the book, from the preface first of all, because I think it's good for me to share from here, because this is the agreed collective voice of the school, rather than me saying it from the top of my head. I think it comes stronger if it's read from the book. The International School for Bottom-Up Organising met in October in Caracas, Venezuela, with a small group representing 5 countries present. The group included organisers from rural communities in Colombia and Jamaica, organisers working with immigrant youth in England and with survivors of Hurricane Katrina in the US, and young students from Venezuela. Our focus is on organising of egalitarian prototypes within communities of the most oppressed. We are beginning our work in the Americas because that is where we are. We have no doubt that there are many poor, oppressed people worldwide trying in their own ways to fight for egalitarian living, and we hope to find and connect with them in an international revolutionary movement led by the most oppressed folk. We base our organising on the principles of egalitarianism, equal voice, consent, decision-making, and the oneness of hue and class as instruments of oppression. We are committed to stopping violence against women and building female leadership. We see that those at the bottom of capitalism's heap are the folk with the darkest skin, and that it is they who must lead our movement. We think that the capacity to be just is greatest amongst those who have been treated most unjustly. The capacity to distribute the world's resources equitably is greatest amongst those who have been most denied these resources. And the capacity to share and be inclusive is greatest amongst those who have been most discriminated against, most left out, locked out, and despised. This is the genius that we are searching for. Formal education might make a person better able to make money, and from the capitalist standpoint, brown people are inferior and black people more so. But the people at the bottom are the greatest geniuses on the question of humanity. The genius that is needed to save the world will not be found in the academy, nor among the people who think ideas are primary and practice secondary. The genius that is needed to save the world will be found among those who have been the most oppressed. Our school began with a 3-day fight to get 2 comrades from Colombia across the border and to the meeting. It ended with a newborn collective of determined organisers, determined to continue learning and continue serving the people in our various countries and organising projects. We agreed to meet twice per year with an action against slavery at one of these meetings annually. In addition, we began the process of setting up fundraising for the individual organising projects, and the international school agreed to having a monthly online phone conference, and to set up a blog for internal discussion and one for public use, and set up an international travel committee to begin to find like-minded people in other countries in the Americas. This collective comes out of a long history of collective struggle. It has emerged from the ashes of the old and was given violent birth in the crucible of New Orleans after Katrina, where organisers had an unprecedented opportunity to turn the most massive racist attack in recent US history into a movement led by the poorest black victims of the attack, but instead continued in their old paths of self-serving or inability to adopt their ideological mindset to the new circumstances. What came out of Katrina was a pitiful state of new candidates for political office, for many, more of the same type of sectarian party building work which has failed for 40 years to build a movement. But what also came out of Katrina was a small collective determined to understand the harsh lessons of these events. That collective left the US, began building the type of prototype we envisioned, and eventually got to the point of holding the meeting in October. Our roots were nurtured in the soil of organising local people with the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee in Mississippi in the 60s. We have been a part of various parties and organising efforts nationally and internationally in the 40 years since, and our work during Katrina enabled us to synthesise our varied experience with the struggle that ensued in New Orleans and came up with a new direction. In particular, we have a very great need for a Friends of Bottom organising. In the SNCC organising of the 60s, from which we take much of our organising method, there were many ways for people to participate. Some folk were able to be full-time organisers. Some volunteered their homes for freedom houses, where meetings could happen and people could be housed. Some helped with freedom schools, with organising training and literacy classes, what we might think of as political education. Some did crucial fundraising work and helped promote literature and cultural means to spread the word. In today's organising world, we must also add internet skills to that list. Currently, our front line is in the Caribbean and South America, and our main potential for support is in the US and the UK. We are asking you to take a look at our words and our work and to see in what ways you might be able to take part. So that's kind of a brief overview of the school. So I hope that a little bit about who we are and what we're doing. So if it's okay, I'm just going to read a little bit from one of the documents in the book called The Bottom Will Rise and Create a New World, just again to give you a bit of a feel for our politics and the concepts of the school. Is that alright? Because I know I'm not always a fan of kind of listening to people read and recite for too long, because it can be boring and you switch off. So if people are alright, then I'll carry on, yeah?
It's not really right thinking that the author created that title for American consumption.
You know what we're going to do at the end is have a people circle, and it'd be really great because we want people to share like what you think, what's come up for you, your reflections upon hearing us share what we're doing. But please hold that thought, and when we have a people circle, we'd love to hear what you have to say. Yeah, that's good. Thank you. Okay. So basically, I'm going to read a bit from this document here. So Bottom Will Rise and Create a New World. Bottom-up organising is about building and defending a new, just, egalitarian and loving world by creating organisations that are equal and fair and led by the people themselves. The strategy is that by running their own organisations in an egalitarian and loving way, the people on the bottom will learn how to run all of society and see that they have the power to do it. They will learn that the haves only have the power because we let them, and we don't have to let them. Bottom-up organisations will begin to govern their own communities or areas. In this process, they will inevitably have to come face to face with the haves, who are now running the communities. This will take many forms, but as organisers we realise that the haves are a ruthless enemy who will stop at nothing to keep their power and resources. We see examples of their viciousness, violence and greed all around us all the time. We will be prepared to fight fire with fire. As organisers build bottom-up organisations, an important part of our work is education. This is because the haves have deliberately kept the have-nots in the dark about everything from reading to science to history. As we begin creating a new and egalitarian world, the people on the bottom will learn and master every aspect of human knowledge. People have rebelled and tried to take back the world from their oppressors over and over again for hundreds of years, so we have a rich revolutionary history to lean on. We can learn from our ancestors' successes and from their failures. Right now in this period of history, many people feel hopeless about revolution and about our ability to create an egalitarian world. Because just in the last 100 years, many revolutions tried and failed on almost every continent of the world. One reason for this is that the leaders of these revolutions did not have confidence in the genius of the people they set out to lead. They saw a separation between the leaders and the followers. Bottom-up organising strives to eliminate this separation by training the people to lead themselves and not be followers.